What's good, R&B Squad? This is out of Ruth. I trust that this message meets you guys in good spirits. If you're new to this family, we don't believe that you're here by accident. Welcome. We're happy to have you, and Jesus is, of course, always happier. Guys, I didn't mean to come back on here tonight. I didn't think that I would have to, but this is a message that God keeps pressing on my heart to go ahead and put out. I was going to put it out tomorrow, but He put it on my heart to put it out tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and do that since somebody may need it. And it comes from a dream that I had recently. Now, in the dream, these two women were talking. One of them was holding this bag with some stuff in it. And apparently, the bag she was holding belonged to the other woman that she was speaking with. And she said to the other woman, "I've been meaning to tell you to come get your stuff. Come take your stuff. Take your stuff and take it with you when you're leaving." And she handed the bag to the other woman. Now, when she handed the bag to the other woman, the stuff, the contents of the bag started to spill out onto the floor. And what came out of there was just a bunch of broken and useless things. I saw clothing that had been tattered and torn. I saw cups that were broken. There were even like pages that fell out of there, and they had the letter F on them in red. Like, you know, when you do an exam and you fail it, and so there's an F on it. Right, papers like that fell out of the bag as well. And then the very last thing that fell out was a ring. And this reminded me so much of the recent word that I put out about the tarnished ring. And I am going to put that in the description box for those of you who haven't heard it. It may tie into this word. So a ring fell out of there. That was the very last thing that fell out. And as it fell to the floor, it broke. But even before it broke, it was of no use because it had lost its color. It had faded. It didn't look like it had any value anymore. And as the things started to fall out, the woman to whom those things belonged to, she started grabbing them up and trying to tuck them back into the bag. And she started going through the contents of these broken and useless things. And then she turned on the woman who had handed the stuff to her and she started to accuse her of things. She said, "This is your fault. You've been keeping this stuff and you damaged this stuff, and it's your fault that none of this stuff is useful to me anymore. You did this to these things. You took them from me and you've been hiding them all this time. And it's your fault that they ended up in this condition in the first place." And the second woman looks at her in disbelief and she says, "You know, you're the one that brought that stuff here and left it here. And you seem to have forgotten that you're the one that did that. You brought it here. You left them here. And now I'm just trying to give them back to you because I don't want them. I don't have any use for them." And that was the end of the dream. So for someone, y'all, please ignore the barking dog in the back. He is going to get quiet in a moment and hang on to my voice. If you can't hear me, please turn on the closed captioning. So for someone, there is a person around you who has been blaming you for everything that has gone wrong in their lives. They failed in a lot of areas. There's a lot of things that did not work out for them, and it's their fault. It has nothing to do with you. They just don't want to take responsibility for the things, the part they played in what has gone wrong in their lives. See, for some people are so arrogant and so narcissistic and have such a strong spirit of pride on them that is not of God, that accountability tastes like poison to them. If they have to be accountable for anything that they've done wrong, if they have to even let the thought register that they may be wrong about something, it's just like poison. They can't swallow it because it's going to kill them. That's how they feel. And so they look for somebody to blame for the things that have gone wrong in their lives. Consider the contents of the stuff that was in that bag. Some of it was clothing, some of it was like cups and things like that, ceramic cups that were broken. So I'm thinking material things. Some people have lost material things. Others have failed in areas of their academics or their professional life because I saw that test paper that came out of there with an F on it. And also, some of them have been tested in some areas of their lives by things that happened to them, by trials that they were put through, and they failed. And then the very last thing that fell out of there was the ring, the wedding ring, and it was broken and tarnished. And that tells me that somebody had a relationship or a marriage that failed. The common denominator here is that these people who have lost these things, or this person who has lost these things, they blame you for it. And for some of you, what this can look like is that you grew up with a parent who blamed you for everything that they didn't get to do in their lives. They try to make you think that because you were born, you held them back from certain things. Maybe you held them back from getting married. Maybe they blamed you and said that things went wrong in their marriage to your father or to your mother when you were born. Maybe they tried to blame you for the fact that they didn't pursue certain things in their life to make their lives better. For some of you, it's a sibling. For some of you, it's a friend. For some of you, it is even somebody that's not even that close to you, someone that's not close to you at all. It is an ex-partner of the person that is currently pursuing you, or an ex-partner of the person that God ordained for you to marry. And things didn't work out with them and this person, so they're blaming you for it. It's your fault. And again, what all of these people have in common is an inability to take accountability. And that's because they have a puffed up spirit of pride that is not of God. It is not the fruit of the Spirit. It has nothing to do with you. But notice that woman handed her his stuff back. She said, "You left that stuff here. I didn't ask you to put that stuff here. You left it here, and now I'm giving it back to you because I don't have any use for it. I don't want it." So God has put you in a position where you are now going to give back the blame. You're going to return the yoke of blame and shame that these people have hung around your neck. You did not ask for it. What they went through, or whatever they failed at, or whatever they lost, is not your fault. It is largely their fault. It's because they didn't make certain moves. It's because they didn't appreciate certain things when they had it. It has nothing to do with you. Some of these people have very deep character flaws that cause them to lose things. And rather than take accountability for that and change, they're looking for someone to blame. And you see, that is at the very core of their problem. Because they have no sense of retrospect, because they can't look at things in hindsight and self-reflect, it is very hard for them to change. And again, it is also very hard for them to accept that they could have gone wrong somewhere. They think that they're always right. And this is why they fail at so many things. This is why they lose out on so many opportunities. This is why people walk away from them. Because if you're so arrogant that you can never admit when you're wrong, how can a relationship work out? How can you get by? How can you prosper at a job? How can you make any headway in your career if you cannot take accountability for anything that goes wrong on your watch? That's crazy. So God has put you in a position where you're now handing that junk back to this individual, whether that's your parent who blamed you all your life for just existing, or that is an ex-partner who blames you for the fact that they're no longer happy, or that they were never happy in the first place, or if it's the ex-partner of your partner who's blaming you for the fact that the relationship broke up when you weren't even around when it happened. Whatever that looks like, whoever is blaming you, you're giving their blame and shame back to them. So I hope that this message blessed someone. I love you guys. I will be back with another word as soon as the Lord releases me. Take care.